Thank you so much. Thank you, Denise. Thank you to everyone there at the Nine Centre Training and to Mr. Hussein for that lovely introduction. Sometimes I have to pinch myself, to be honest, when I hear people say the things that has happened in my life. And I think that feeds into productivity. What I am going to do is I'm going to try and share my screen with you to give you some slides around sales. So if we have a little look, where am I? Hang on 2 seconds, move that across. So as Denise said, you've got your traditional P's of marketing, but we've kind of added some extra P's in for the situation that we're in, because we never really thought that this was ever going to happen. So before I sort of carry on with that, I'm going to say I'm actually Scottish, so my accent is slightly different to Denise's and potentially slightly harder to understand. So I'll speak a little bit slower so that you can catch the content. So positivity, why is it so imperative at the moment for your business to be positive? Well, I think, again, it feeds through on mindset. And one of the questions that I get asked about a lot at the moment, is it the right time to sell? And 100%, I answer the same answer every time. It has to be the right time to sell, because if you don't sell, you don't have a business. So you can sell empathetically, and it's interesting because Mr. Mohammed will be talking after me. And one of the things I teach is around when it's delivered correctly, sales and customer service is exactly the same thing. So it's not about pushy sales. It's not about, again, manipulative sales. It's not about profiteering sales, but ultimately you need to be able to sell as if it's a customer service. So I think one of the things I'm seeing out in the marketplace at the moment, and Denise touched on it beautifully, was we have to change the way we do things. And for some people, that's easier than others. When I did the research, again, when I speak at large organizations, I speak about intrapreneurship. So to get employees to think like entrepreneurs and how to do things differently. And one of the things that holds a lot of people back is actually the fear of change. Now, it's been interesting watching Mr. Hussein trying to pronounce conglomerates. For me, this is one of my tricky words, metathesiophobia. So it's an actual fear of change. So I think, again, feeding into what Denise said, a lot of people at the moment are used to doing face-to-face sales, or they're used to doing things, again, in a more one-to-one environment in the real world. And we've had to move to Zoom. We've had to do things differently. And it has put a lot of panic into people. So I think the main thing is to try and stop the panic. Now, in lockdown, one of the things I felt at the start of lockdown, we were given a gift of time. But I don't know, we're now something like almost 2 months in, and my time seems to have been evaporating. So what I have done is I've been learning some new things. I'm writing my second book, which is based on my TEDx. And I'm having to learn why are people got a fear of change? Why are people stopping selling? Why are they doing that? So I've been reading Dr. Steve Peters' book, The Chimp Paradox. And I've been trying to gain more knowledge around positivity in the brain. So again, I'm not going to go through his whole book, but I would recommend reading it, The Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters. And he talks about the different sides to our brain. So he talks about our logical brain, and he talks about our chimp brain. So I call it the voice in my head. And I hope, like, for everyone seems to be able to relate to this little voice, the voice that says, you can't do that. You shouldn't be doing this. Oh, you shouldn't be selling. Oh, are you being hard on people? Are you not being empathetic enough? And this is the voice that's holding us back. So I think it's really important, to identify at the moment that when the voice does creep in, the coping mechanism is just to say, stop, no, stop now. This is not my logical brain. How can I overcome this? So I think, again, identifying it is a real strength to positivity. I sat in on the well-being seminar that Miss Gopika arranged. And there was a lot of the psychology behind why we feel so difficult to sell in these times. So again, based on Carol Dweck studies, there's lots of different sides of mindset, but the one that I love is based on Carol Dweck. So she talks about a fixed mindset. I'm either good at this or I'm not. And sales, I think, is one of those interesting topics. I'm going to talk about the difference between sales and marketing, but people seem to love marketing. They love digital marketing. They love mail shot. They love social media. They love Instagram. They love it all. Look, Denise is going, yay! They love marketing. But when it comes to sales, a lot of people think, oh, I'm not good at that. I can't do that. I don't like that. And again, it sits in a fixed mindset. So I think, again, really getting to understand the different types of mindsets is really important, because if you don't think you're good at it and you don't love it, you will never reach your full potential. So if we look again, sale is now a really good time when people do have a little bit more time, although I still hope my time arrives because it still evaporates, but I can learn new things. So I've mentioned that I've learned more about the psychology of the brain and how it affects sales. Also, again, exactly what Denise has said, with a growth mindset, really revisiting what you were doing previously. Who are your customers? Why did they buy? What could they potentially buy from you? How can you access new products? How can you create new things to sell? And again, I'm going to cover that during this session. But the main thing that you have to do to get through this, not only from a sales, marketing, or well-being perspective, is you have to sit in a growth mindset. So let me give you my little tips on how to do that. And I think it relates into really starting with the thing you think you can't do. And again, that might be perceived as being negative. But for me, one thing that wasn't announced in my introduction by Mr. Hussein is I'm actually dyslexic. And for those of you who don't know much about dyslexia, it's actually it's a learning disability. So we learn differently. It doesn't mean that we're not intelligent, but we struggle with academia, so retention of information. So you'll see again in my slides, there's not a lot of words because a lot of my content comes from my heart and passion because of the way I retain. So I could, if I sat in a fixed mindset, think I'm not good at this, but I have to sit in growth. So let me tell you the story about the book. The book came about because I can't write. And I had a team of girls, young people who worked for me, who were academic English literature graduates. And they would come in and say, I'm going to write a blog. And I go, great, because I can't write. I'm dyslexic. And I think it comes from when I was at school, we had to read out loud in class. And I can still now taste the fear in my mouth when it was my turn. For years, I thought I couldn't do it. Until one day, I said, stop! Who tells me I can't write? Oh yes, that's the voice in my head. That's the chimp, the voice telling me I can't do it. And eventually I started to write. And not only did I write, I wrote this. I wrote Secrets of Successful Sales, and the book went on to be a #1 bestseller around the world. And again, it was featured in magazines. It's got 131 5-star reviews. So my point to tell you this is in the days you think you can't sell, you can do anything you want if you overcome the voice in your head and have a growth mindset. And that's how you stay positive. So here's a little tip for you. When you think you can't sell, the voice tells you, it makes you feel apprehensive and anxious to sales. You're worried to start conversations because you worry about what people think, and you'll be nervous and anxious. Then you'll behave and you'll shy away from sales. You'll stay in Denise's corner. You'll stay with marketing. I need you to actually turn it around. So today, when you came off this webinar, after you have heard Mr. Mohammed and we've done questions at the end, I need you to think, I can sell. The time is now, and you'll feel excited to have conversations with your customers, and actually you will be positive, you will be inspirational, and they will want to buy from you. So the secret to successful sales actually lies within you. So pivot. You know, Denise has given us some amazing tips for people out there who have got service industries. We can create product and productize. But what happens if you have got a product business? So I have got a client, Alana Spencer, who won The Apprentice back in 2016, and she makes cakes. Delicious cakes. Now, I've done some work in Kuwait and in Dubai, and I know that you guys love food. I've had some of the nicest food in the Middle East that I've had in my whole life. But she sold through markets, face-to-face markets, and she had a team of ambassadors, which obviously can't happen. But one thing which is huge at the moment is the gifting market. So because the gifting market is so large, you know, can you sell to get into gifting? Can you do something different? So I challenge you to look for different ways. But again, Denise has touched on this. But one thing I really want to clear up with you guys is I know loads of people struggle with the difference between sales and marketing. And you'll see, again, to share a little story, Denise and I met about 7 years ago. We live in the same town. We didn't know each other. Look, I think you'll agree, we kind of look like sisters. We've got the hair, Denise wears purple, I wear pink, she does marketing, I do sales. So at a glance, we can be seen as similar. And this is the same as sales and marketing. So how I explain it is like golf, okay? So marketing, put the tee in the ground and put the ball in the tee. They line it up. That's our website, our mail shots, our social media. They kind of get people to know the brand. Then us in sales, we take the ball down the fairway, put it on the green and put the ball in the hole, because only when the ball goes in the hole do you make any money. Now, I know Denise is sitting there shaking her head. She goes, that's so wrong. What happens is, us in marketing, me, Denise, we put the ball right down to the hole, and you sales guys tap it in and take all the glory. But if your marketing is good, that's how easy it is to sell. So sales start to come into play when we're having phone calls, one-to-one conversations, getting contracts signed. The marketing make the brand awareness. But what happens for things like Amazon, eBay? Actually, that's not sales at all. That's a hole-in-one for marketing. And I think that's a bit like the eureka point. We all want to put our online courses online, or we all want to put our products online. People just jump in and buy them. But without the marketing activity, that doesn't happen. But it doesn't need the phone call or the meeting. So hopefully that makes sense. Another pivot is, again, looking at wholesaling. Wholesaling is a great way, but that's sales and marketing working together. So hopefully that gives you more clarity, because I find that's one of the things that people don't understand at the best of times, let alone in a pandemic. So proactivity, this is my word. You know, we've taken the traditional P's that you learn at university or in workplace, and we've added our own pink and purple P's. So proactivity. It's really important now, not just to reach out to your customers, but really consider their budgets. So they may have budgets for whatever it was you were selling. So proactively asking them things like, so out of interest, and again, Mr. Hussein touched on hospitality and tourism. So how have your sales been affected by the pandemic? And if they say, well, they've been reduced, by what percentage, and how does that affect your event budget, or how does that affect your budget for stayaways or retreats? How has that been affected? Because again, running a business is a little bit like being on a diet. The more you exercise, the less you eat, the thinner you become. In business, the more you sell, the less you spend, the more profit you make. So that's where really understanding what's going on in your client's head is imperative, because you can only sell what they need. Otherwise, it's not great customer service. Really looking at your data. So Denise touched on it, you get more reoccurring revenue from your existing clients. It's harder to acquire new ones. So look at your data. I'm going to give you a little tip on that, and the plan. But every time you're reaching out, what's the purpose? So many people are reaching out just to find out how people are, and that's great, but from a business perspective, it needs to have a purpose. If you have got something that will make their business better, you have to get involved and make that part of the purpose. So I don't know whether this is a cultural thing, but bingo. Do you have bingo in the Middle East? Does anybody know what bingo is? Mohammed, do you know what bingo is? Miss Kopika? Bingo?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
good. Okay, so this is good. So again, coming back to Denise's point, I like to come up with fun sales strategies. So for example, if we put client would be ABC company, and they currently buy 2 of your products, then what you would do is you would be proactively engaging with them to see if they could buy any more, but by asking them, like for us, we've got online courses, we've got live seminars, we've got webinars, out of interest, while you're in lockdown and your team can't perform their duties, how are you currently training them? We know that coming out of during lockdown, people are really struggling with mental health. How are you providing services that can enhance their day-to-day in lockdown? So again, good questions help you play bingo. So that feeds into the marketing strategy as well. So again, feeding into what Denise has said, I think it's important that if you believe that what you offer is a great customer service, that you offer it, it's okay to sell, it's okay. And the reason that we have put some offers in here is to A, help you if you need help, but B, to give you confidence and inspire you that it is okay to do business at the moment, that we will, as a world economy, have to treat sales, and how I refer to sales. If we think about hand sanitizer is the savior of hygiene. It's saving lives. Sales is the savior of the world economy. If we all stop trading, we will have nothing to go back to at the back end. So if you wanted any one-to-one consultation with Denise and I, as well as the products, which are the books and the online courses, we can definitely do something for you. If you email me, alison@alisonedgar.com, or you can contact me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram.